have a problem with this garage because I'm doing too many things in the same space. By too many things, I mean I do my welding, all of my metal work in here, mechanical stuff, well, and wood. Sometimes there's like woodworking to do as well, which we're going to do a bit of today. But the issue is then when I go to paint, well, before that, sandblast in here, I put these tarps all down. I pull them, I've got tarps all the way around the whole thing, and I pull them all down to try and keep the sand out of everything. But it doesn't keep the sand out of everything, right? It helps all the sand run down. I can collect it on the floor and put it back in a sandblaster if I'm going to reuse it. But what happens is the sand gets into everything. Then the next step is to paint. And then what do? How do you get this place clean? Probably my wife and I work for a day. Yeah, there we go again.
It's getting ready to start cleaning this garage.
She loves the air hose, eh? So a little while ago I was blowing the sand out of the cracks inside the car. And she's standing there waiting for the air hose because that's her job, eh? So I hooked up another air hose with a little gun on the end of it for her to clean tools while I was, doing the car. And I finished the car. Next thing I turned around and she's got an air hose in each hand. like 6 shooters, just attacking stuff, man. 2 air hoses. But you know what? I think that I better find another plan. I should never sandblast in the garage. Vacuuming and sweeping and vacuuming and getting everything out of here so it's ready to paint. And it's still not clean enough. I actually spray the ceiling and the lights down with water. You can see the drips on the light bulbs up there because you got to get that dust out of there or it settles on your paint job. One idea, good idea, can save so much work and move your project so far ahead. Here's the deal. I'm going to take my air from here. I've got 2 in here. I got the 5 horsepower single stage 3-cylinder air compressor there that was in the shop when I bought it. And then I've got this 5 horse 2-stage twin cylinder one that I brought with me from where we lived before. The guy that had it before me had it all piped in. He's got 1-inch copper everywhere. And I've piped my air compressor in there. So I got lots of power, lots of air when I'm sandblasting. And I'm going to go through the corner, put a T in that pipe in the corner there, and go through the wall to the outside. I was thinking about buying 1-inch copper plumbing pipe, but it cost me several $100, just for the pipe to get up there. And then you got to bury it somehow. I don't know. I don't really want to dig in there because there's electrical wires, there's gas lines going to both the house and the garage right in that corner. So I figured just pipe it out through the wall. And I found that you could buy a 1-inch, what do we call it? A jackhammer hose, right? 50 feet for it's like $140 some on eBay with those Chicago fittings, right? Those quick twist fittings on both ends. Buy a couple extra fittings. And so I'm just going to go out here, put a valve on, and then run that rubber hose up to my other garage and go in the corner there. And I'm not sure if it's going to be like 52 feet away or whatever, but we'll see. We might have to run a few feet of copper up on that other end. So let's get after it. Here we go. 3 outlets, one for painting, which has a regulator on it, sandblasting, which is just a straight through 1 inch, and one for power tools, just unregulated, just air, like a 1/4 inch feed is all I need for that. I would have full bore air pressure in that front garage for sandblasting. I could sandblast in there and just sweep up real easy because there's, like I say, there's no cupboards or nothing in there. I was riding on a plane coming from Thailand, getting ready to land back in Canada, thinking about, we had rented this house out as an Airbnb while we were gone for like 8 months. And we included the attached garage on the front of the house, 2-car garage, right, single door, and cleaned the whole thing out. And I'm sitting on a plane, I'm thinking, you know what, that's like a totally square box. There's no cupboards in there, there's no tools, there's no paraphernalia in there. And why don't I make that my sandblasting booth and my paint booth? Yeah, because it would be so easy to clean up. So if you just had like 1 square room, right, that you could just sweep down, sweep up, blow off, dampen it with some water, and you should have a paint booth. But I would need a ventilation system, and thinking about that, it's a long plane ride, eh? Well, what if we put a ventilation fan, like an exhaust fan, near the bottom at one corner of the room? A nice exhaust fan. That's going to be perfect, eh? Instructions. It's 12 1/4. Well, we'll finish a few of these things up. Tomorrow we have to travel, hit the road. So it'll be nice if this is all dry. Paint when I come back, put the finishing touches on. But we pretty well got it wrapped up today. I'm pretty happy with that. We'll put a curved edge on this all the way around to stiffen it up. Like it's 20 gauge and it's really weak. I actually designed these 2 dies here as a set to go together to bring a curved edge down into an edge. And had my friend the machinist down the street make them up for me. Yeah. It's cheap in Thailand. I wouldn't do that in Canada. And an intake with a filter at the top of the opposite corner. So we could take some of the soffit out there near the front of the garage on one side and make a hole, make a passageway over the top of the wall between the rafters, right, between the trusses, and down through the ceiling and put a furnace filter on the ceiling mounted on there so it would filter the dust out. And then down there in that low opposite corner, you put this ventilation fan, and it'll suck air out. It'll come in there, and yeah, it'll actually make the room more of a vacuum, which will be good because one of the important things if I'm going to paint is you can't have fumes or sand going into the door into the house. I actually probably have to put like duct tape around the edge of the door or something when I go to paint in there. Because you got to think of your wife, you know, man. But this idea is going to work great. So, okay, so it takes me, let's say 2 days, okay? Full bore, working hard, 2 days to get all of that done because I've got to make, you know, the vents, the passageways, I've got to make the boxes to mount everything, I've got to make lids to put on everything and make sure that in the wintertime when I'm not using it, I can close it up, that it's waterproof, cold proof and all that kind of stuff. And it might not be perfect airflow for a paint booth, but it'll be pretty good. It'll be letting clean air in and taking out the paint fumes. And the trouble is, this is a residential area, you know, so I probably have to put some kind of a deflector so that maybe the paint fumes come down between my house and a neighbor's house. We'll see how that goes. But you know, you only paint a car a year, so it's not going to be a big problem. And then the glory of it is I get to tear down all of the tarps and the 2x4s and everything that I've got around in this garage. It's hard to open the cupboards sometimes. There's ropes hanging there. It's just a nuisance. And finally, stick up some good lighting all around. Now, this garage has great lighting in it because the guy that owned this house before built race cars in here. But it's all on the ceiling, so I put these 500 watt halogen lights around on the wall, about so high up. And you set the height of your lights. I can actually move them quite easily. But you set them so that you can see the reflection of the lights in your paint job when you're painting. It just helps. I've also got a couple more that I can move around. One on a stand, it's this high, and one right on the floor. Yeah, there's no way to get a better look at what's happening to your finish than to see a reflection of a bright light in it, as far as like orange peel and that kind of stuff goes. Yeah, so there we have it. Sandblast and paint booth finished and ready to go. We got to paint a car right away. That's the reason that we're pushing this project ahead. I think this car was one of those ones that you see in the middle of the mall where people all looking all over it. It's like a raffle or advertising or whatever, and it's got like belt buckle scratches in it and stuff like that from new. But I got the thing for about half price, brand new, right out of the showroom. And then it's been hailed on once, just lightly hailed on, so it's got a few little dipples. And then rock chips. Oh man, the sand in the rocks in Alberta in the springtime is just horrendous. I've actually gone through 3 windshields already in this car just because they get sandblasted. And part of the problem is the car is so low to the ground it catches everything. First trip out with that car, brand new, I hit a deer, just a little fawn. And it broke the bumper cover. And so I had collision insurance on it. I don't know, I've never put collision on a car before, but I thought, okay, I'll do that. So I did the repair through the insurance company at the dealer, the GM dealer. And they bought a new bumper cover, right? And then they painted it. But then a few months later, when I was washing it, the water pressure actually took the clear coat right off. So they didn't do a good job. You know what's interesting is for the deductible that I had to pay to get that thing fixed, I could have bought all of the bumper cover in the raw and the paint and everything to do the job for the same price as a deductible. I could have done it myself, and then I wouldn't have had a hassle with the insurance. And but to save my insurance from going up, I just cancel it. No more collision. I'm done with that. I just take my chances, you know. But you think about it, I've been driving for like 50 years. Yeah, 55 years next month. And that's the only insurance claim I've ever made. And so if you think of all the vehicles and all of the driving and all of the years, for 55 years, I could buy a brand new car for what I saved in insurance. Oh, 2 or 3 brand new cars, seriously.